So if you're new to cubing, you must have come across this. And you must have asked yourself, what the hell is this? Well, don't worry, in today's video I got you. I'm going to be telling you how to read these cubing letters, which are called notation or algorithms. So let's get started. Now the most common letters are these ones: R, L, U, B, F, and D. Now these letters tell you which side of the cube to turn. So for example, if you see R, that means to turn the right layer. If you see L, that means to turn the left layer. If you see D, that means to turn the bottom layer. And if you see F, that means to turn the front layer. If you see U, that means to turn the upper layer. And if you see B, that means to turn the back layer. Alright? Now if you see a letter only, with no apostrophes, no nothing, just a letter only, that means to turn that side clockwise. So if I see the letter R, that means to turn it clockwise, like this. If I see only the letter R with no apostrophes on it, that means to turn it like this, clockwise. If you see F with no apostrophe, that means to turn it clockwise, like this. If you see D with no apostrophe, that means to turn it clockwise, like this. If you see L with no apostrophe, that means to turn it like this. If you see a B with no apostrophe, that means to turn it like this. And if you see a U with no apostrophe, that means to turn it like this. Right? And this is what it means if you see a letter with no apostrophe. That just means you have to turn that letter clockwise. Now, what if you see a letter with an apostrophe? So if you see a letter with an apostrophe, that means prime. And what that means is to turn that side of the cube or that layer counterclockwise. So if you see R with an apostrophe, that would mean to turn it like this, counterclockwise. If you see F with an apostrophe, that would mean to turn it like this, counterclockwise. If you see L with an apostrophe, that means to turn it counterclockwise, like this. If you see D with a prime, that means to turn it counterclockwise, like this. If you see B with a prime, that means to turn it counterclockwise, like this. And if you see U with a prime, that means to turn it counterclockwise, like this. Now, if you see a letter with a number, do not panic. It is very simple. The letter will tell you which side to turn, and the number will tell you how much you have to turn that side. So for example, if I see something like R2, that means to turn the right layer twice, right? Now if I see something like R2 prime, that just means to turn the right side 2 times counterclockwise, because it's the same as before, just on a number this time. So the number will tell you how much you have to turn, and the letter will tell you which side you have to turn. So something like D2 will be this, or something like D2 prime would be this. Now let's move on to the lowercase letters, which are also known as wide or fat moves. So if you see a lowercase letter like a small r, that just means to turn the right layer along with the middle layer. If you see something like a small d, that would mean to turn it like this. If you see something like a small f, that would mean to turn it like this. If you see something like a small b, that would mean to turn it like this. And if you see something like a small l, that would mean to turn it like this. Now in lowercase, the same exact thing applies with the normal letters, so don't get confused. The only difference is that we turn 2 layers. Now wide moves are also noted with a small w, so if you see something like LW, it is the same as a small l. Now let's move on to the middle layer, and these are also called sliced layers. So first of all, we have the M layer, and the M layer follows the direction of the L layer, right? So this would be M because this is L, and this would be M prime because this is L prime. Now let's move on to the E layer, which is this. And E layer follows the direction of D layer. So this would be E prime, and this would be E. And lastly, we have the S layer, which follows the direction of the F layer. So this would be S, and this would be S prime. Now let's move on to cube rotations, which are noted by XYZ, lowercase xyz. Now, X follows the direction of the R layer, so this is R, so this would be X. And this is R prime, so this would be X prime. Now an x2 would be something like this. Now let's move on to the y layer, which follows the direction of the u layer. So u moves like this, so y, this is y, and this would be y prime. Now let's move on to the z rotation, which follows the direction of the f layer. So f moves like this, so z moves like this. One thing I want to tell you is that the cubing notations are the same on big cubes, but in 4x4, lowercase letters do not mean wide moves, they just mean slice layers. I hope this video helped you, and I'll see you in the next video. Ciao.